Paul McMahon, and do you want to come up as well? Yep. So, and with this one, I'm not going to have it as a deputation. I'm actually going to move straight to item 8.1 because we've had a discussion before the meeting today, and the two councillors for the ward have come up with a proposal which, because where is it? 8.1. If we can move to 8.1, the proposal that the two councillors have come up with, hopefully we've got an amendment worked out on 8.1. Yes.
It's basically what we've considered, and councillors may want to add to this or detract from it, but it's that we ask staff, and we mean the community engagement staff, the property staff and strengthening communities, to work with the community board to consider the wider possibilities of the use of Buchan Park, including space for community group meetings and social gatherings. And like that could be another, that can be wider because clearly, and this board will tell you about lack of space. But the other part too is that council asked the community board to have further discussions with the Sikh Society, the Sydenham Quarter and the local businesses.
Could you just take that second part of the first one out?
So
Predetermining the outcome of that in any way?
So what I think we need to, what I was aiming at is that we give the board a steer on the purpose of what we want them to do, that's all. So I'll look at how we, what part of your suggestion comes out, Vicky? Sorry?
Including the space for community meetings.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the gist of what we'll come up with.
The discussion that we had before was to try and find a mechanism whereby we could get some more options on the table. At the moment, we've got the unusual situation where the community board adopted a position, which they're perfectly entitled to do, but it was coming back to the council for a final decision, and that was because we didn't have a delegation. I personally favoured delegations for these kinds of issues. That isn't a view that's universally held. So rather than create an individual delegation, we need to deal with delegations as part of the wider consideration of delegations to community boards. But what we want to do on this occasion is to, and what happened was that it came, various interests wanted to make deputations to the council meeting on the day that we were to make a decision. I think that is the worst possible process for decision making, because just those who ask for deputations are the ones who get to be heard. And that doesn't mean everyone gets to be heard, so I referred it to the Infrastructure, Transport and Environment Committee, which came up with a different position than the Community Board. So after our discussion this morning, there was quite clear that there's a lot of support for helping the New Zealand Sikh Society South Island find a resolution to their situation. Building on their current site is probably not the best outcome for them or the community. Are there better options than the one that's being proposed? We don't know, because other options haven't been put on the table. And that's what we'd like to refer back to the community board, is to look for other options so that all of the options can be considered alongside the wider community interests and the Sikh Society. So it's really to open it up. At this point, we don't want to resolve to delegate the decision-making to the community board, and that is largely because we need to have that broader consideration around delegations considered overall across all community boards rather than on an ad hoc basis, case by case. So that's my summary of it. Do you want to... Do you two want to speak to it first, or can I invite Paul and Carolyn to speak? Yeah.
Well, obviously, I support the board's original decision, and I stand by that, and I think that we made it with in good faith with the information that we had.
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
I don't find that really helpful, Paul, and that's what I tried to have communicated to you beforehand.
Sorry, I was just getting to
We
my
were just
point.
having a discussion then about
Yeah.
predetermination. Getting options on the table is what this is about. So standing by an original decision isn't that isn't an option. That isn't the only option that we want to hear.
Yes, and I was
I'm trying to
going
be
to finish
helpful.
the sentence. Yes, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that. But obviously, the more information that we have, the better. And there is a sense of division within the community, and a better consultation process would hopefully help sort out some better options. If in the resolution, if I was going to suggest some modification of it, if you're going to mention units of the council, please mention our community governance team. We have an excellent community governance manager.
Oh, we called it community engagement, but it means community governance. Sorry,
governance,
just
yep.
change engagement to governance.
And I mean, I'd still like to request a delegation, but I do understand the broader principle. You know, because it extends the process out for a much longer period of time. It comes back to the board, and then is it going to go back to council or to the committee?
No, it'll come back to the council.
Come back to the council.
But I think that what we want is a good process. You know, we need some. I think that all of us feel that there's probably a win-win out there somewhere, and it's not on the table at the moment.
Do we want to put a time frame on this, or say 6 months, or so that it doesn't get too? Paul seemed to be concerned about the time. Do you think there's any pressure?
Well, I was just querying the process. Now I understand it. I'm happy to accept what's in front of us.
Yep.
Well, I mean, sooner rather than later, but to run a good process doesn't necessarily help putting a time frame on it.
Yeah. Yep. So, do you think that will be okay for the community board?
No argument.
Great. Yanni?
Yeah, there was, I think, Carolyn, you made a deputation around some of the historic things that were in this park.
Oh,
And I just wanted to see if that issue had been addressed.
oh yes. The staff always had the information about the cultural artefacts. It's just that they didn't come to the board at the time of our decision making. We are aware of them, and it may actually, the development of the 77 new apartment housing on the Sydenham School may see the restoration of the Sydenham artefacts back to their original environment. Maybe, but that can form part of the process.
Very good. All right. So that's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried.
Thank you.
Look, thank you very much, and thanks for your efforts there.